Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, I just want to share all of the Jack Chick Crusader comics that I've got. And for those who may not, well, before I get into that, remind you that got my comic books available, Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology and Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes. And they are my two comic books. This, the new one, the Heroes, is more mainstream, has some superhero stuff and some more mainstream. So got some little sci-fi stuff, little western stories, some horror stuff in it, and they are both available for $7.99 each on Amazon. Now on Amazon you can get, unfortunately they're linked, and you bring up this one, scroll down to series, and this one will come up, and you can order either or both. And they're both also available on Barnes & Noble online store and thrift books. And you don't have to do any extra scrolling to find it. So I would recommend Barnes & Noble online store. Now, here we have Crusaders from Jack Chick Publications. Now, for those who don't know, Jack Chick is, in the Chick Publishing, is best known for producing these little tiny religious tracts. They are a religious publishing company. Jack Chick just passed away several years ago, 5 or 6 years or so ago, and but he's in the 60s. He started producing these little tracts, and they are done in, because he was an aspiring cartoonist, they are done in comic form, like this. And and then in the 70s, he expanded to these full-sized comic book format, and created a pair of so-called heroes. But unfortunately, Jack Chick, there's a very extremist evangelical theology, very anti-Catholic, they encompass a bunch of conspiracy theories, and while not overtly anti-Semitic, there has been some, I've seen some implied anti-Semitism in it, but that's just the way I see it. There's nothing overt that I have seen regarding that. And but Jack Chick did not do, although most of his career he let everyone think he did not do at least the artwork on these comics. He wrote them, but he didn't do the artwork. As you saw here, this was Jack Chick's artwork. He was a cartoonist, capable cartoonist, but he didn't have the drafting skills to produce these. Okay, but the person who did do the artwork on these, including the painted covers, some beautiful painted covers, some beautiful artwork all around, was Fred Carter. He was from 1938 to 2022. He was an American black reverend and illustrator and comic book artist. He started as an assistant for Jack Chick, then became the primary artist. He drew dozens of the comics and tracks which followed Jack Chick's bizarre and hateful theology through the bizarre storylines. They were largely in the Crusaders series of Chick books, which he did from 74 to 85, and he also drawing and redrawing some of the tracts. He drew some of the tracts, and then in later years redrew some of the tracts, especially after Jack Chick died. He also did artwork for urban ministries in Chicago. Like I said, he was born in 1938 in Danville, Illinois, and he was inspired to draw by his late older brother as a child. He won a scholarship in a contest to the American Academy of Art in Chicago, but he dropped out after only 1 year. After finding a Chick tract, he sent Jack Chick samples of his work, and then he got hired on from that. His work elevated the books to a higher level of artistic quality and drama for Chick Publishing. And in 2001, Chick produced a film called Light of the World, featuring Bible stories told in paintings by Fred Carter. So he was a really nice artist. And the first one in the series is Operation Bucharest. I always get Budapest and Bucharest or change. That's funny, I don't know. Back in 1987, I had picked up a couple of Chick comic books. Well, the one I always saw most was the Crusaders. It could occasionally pick them up in the quarter boxes at the comic shops, and whenever I found one that I didn't have, I would pick one up. Well, it has an address on the back, so I ordered a catalog, and I ordered out of the catalog all of the full-size comic books that they had available at the time. There's actually one more. I had one more than this, but I must have mislaid it. I had all these together. In fact, I would still kept them in see, that's 37 years ago. And I still kept them in the package envelope that I received back in 1987. So I've always just kept them in there. And whenever I would come across another Chick tract that I didn't have, I would just throw that in with the rest of them. So this first one, Operation Bucharest, is very anti-communist, I think, and the whole thing is this introduced the Crusaders, who were Tim and Jim. I always could never remember which is which, and this is about smuggling, primarily about smuggling Bibles in behind the Iron Curtain and stuff. Remember, that was in the Soviet Union, so on. But you can see, I've done some of these before. You can see the beautiful artwork that Fred Carter did. And there's the Broken Cross. Now, just a week or so ago, Classic Comic Collector, and if you don't know him, I recommend that you check him out. That's the name of his channel, Classic Comic Collector. Did an episode on this specific book right here, The Broken Cross, and it's all about Satanism, satanic cults, and infused with integrating into pop culture and everything, and it's all complete BS. All this, so much of this stuff fed into the satanic panic from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And a lot of the stuff fits in with the big conspiracy theories that are out gaining ground right now. And there's number 3, Scarface. This was, you can get the sample here. This is about an African leader of a fictitious African country, and how he was terribly scarred and maimed as a child by British authorities, colonizers, as they would be known. And then how he turned around, and our heroes Jim and Tim turned him into a Christian, specifically their brand of Christian, and that's when things would have probably gotten worse. Then The Exorcists, again, issue 4. Again, you can see these beautiful, beautiful cover paintings. And I said I've broken down some of these, did in depth on some of these. I'll show you when I get to them, and there will undoubtedly be some more at some time. This is in India. Takes place primarily in India, and a kid is possessed by a demon, and how the Hindu priests can't do anything, and the Catholic priests can't do anything, but until the Crusaders get there and exorcise the demons, because they're anti-Hindu and anti-anything other than their bread. Shows everything to be part of a satanic plot, including, as I mentioned, that book that I don't have here, which is about the Abraham Lincoln assassination. And in that, it's claiming that the Lincoln assassination was part of a Catholic plot. Now, the Catholic Church has a lot of bad stuff in its history, and a lot to be still to be called out for, but that's not one of them. Here's Chaos, and this is about Doctor, the babies, they're all missing. That's impossible. This is about the rapture. And this is one that I did a deep dive into. But I love this cover. This is a beautiful cover. Primal Man, and this is supposed to be a satanic plot, evolution, and all this. And the science is just horrendous. The history is horrendous. It's nothing. It's like it's all made up, and they have that evolution is a satanic plot. Then the Ark, something about the so-called discovery of Noah's Ark on Mount Ararat in Turkey, which is a fraud. Known today as a fraud. I mean, there's nothing there as far as a boat is concerned, but it's all about that. And again, a great painting, but showing some of the horrendous stuff going on in their interpretation of the Bible. Then The Gift, I can't remember specifically what this was about. That's a beautiful one there. Where is that? Oh, that's a beautiful. Of course, it's horrendous actions, but I mean the draftsmanship, the drawing is just so beautiful, and some really nice, lovely stuff. The Angel of Light. This one's all about Lucifer and Satanism, and leading into how all the other religions in the world are satanic. And we have Spellbound. This is one that I did a deep dive into too, and I looked on their website. And of course, all these books are still available. There were 16, actually 17. I have 17 books here, missing the one, and they've done a half a dozen or so since I ordered these that I had never seen before. But on the cover of this one, really dates it with because this is about how rock music is satanic, and has 8-track tapes on the cover, and that image has been altered now so that it shows CDs instead of the 8-track tapes. Because most kids, especially young people, don't know what the heck an 8-track tape is. And here's one that is really anti-Catholic about the Holy Bible, and showing how they altered, changed, and misinterpreted the Catholic Church, how it grew out of pagan religions and the like, and extremely anti-Catholic. Then, speaking of anti-Catholic, there is a 4-part series of these. It's part of the Alberto series, numbers 12, 13, 14, and oh heck, this is 5. That missing one is number 15, the one about Abraham Lincoln, and this is the supposed true story of a man who had again a beautiful painting, supposedly a Catholic priest working for and in the Vatican, and then he learned all about all the satanic stuff, and he's squealing, and it's based on a book by this supposed former priest, which, from what I understand, since then the entire thing has been revealed to be a hoax, but they still have the double cross. You can see how the artwork is fantastic, and the books usually start off okay with telling a story until they get into the really bizarro stuff. So they just abandon storytelling altogether. The Godfathers, making an allusion to that the Pope and all the Catholic bishops and stuff are like drawing on the mafia Godfather image, and this is how they were involved in the rise, and they actually says how they actually chose Hitler and put him in power, and how the Catholic Church also gave rise to communism in the Soviet Union. None of that is true. Now, the Catholic Church has a lot to be called out for their association with the Nazis, but they did not put Hitler in power. Then the Four Horsemen. This is part 5, and the one about the Lincoln must have been number 15. Again, this is just more horrendous, awful, and false history. And then it had an issue 1, volume 1, of The King of Kings, and this is just a very abbreviated and edited and cleaned up version of the Bible, just hitting the high points, but such incredibly beautiful artwork. And so this is mostly about Fred Carter. It was years. Spent most of his career doing this stuff, and was completely anonymous. And Jack Chick was taking the credit for this, but I guess he didn't mind. But he finally got some credit, and he deserves credit for his work, for the beautiful artwork. And Jack Chick needs credit for the really horrendous stories he put in here. But the unfortunate thing is, of course, Carter agreed with him. But that's that for the Chick Publications, the Crusaders. And as I said, they've got like a half a dozen others in the years since I bought these, as well as a bunch of new tracts. So that's all I've got for you this time. Let's get a better, yeah, let's get a better one on the front. Yeah. So that's all I got for you this time. So please like, share, subscribe, and do leave a comment. Do you remember Kit finding some of these and reading them, these comics, or the tracks themselves, or what do you think about the tracks? I do have to give warning though, as I said, because some of the horrendous, hateful stuff. If at the times that these were being published, it was still the Comics Code, and none of these would have passed the Comics Code for their extreme hatefulness, if nothing else. And they were intended for children. And this is definitely something I would not recommend children reading, just because it's so false and so hateful. But as an adult, it's something, I mean, you can appreciate the artwork, and you can read it with, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I suddenly can't think of it, a word I wanted to use, but anyway, you can be forearmed to know that, you know, appreciate it for what it is and ignore the intent. So thank you. Leave your comments, and remember, comics are art.